Good morning and welcome to the show, and thanks for waking up with us today. I've got Marianne Britton here in the studio from Project Linus, and it's a great cause, and I think you're going to be excited to learn about this. Marianne, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Don, for having me.
Now, Project Linus is, as we all well know, Linus, that
security blanket.
Peanuts character always had that security blanket.
Right.
Now, what you do is try to provide that security blanket to kids, don't you?
We do try to provide that. We like to say that we're giving a child a hug, children that are going through a trauma of some sort, foster care, in the hospital. We consider our blankets to be a hug for that child. You know, we like to have the handmade blankets, and the children just love to wrap themselves in them.
So you would provide a handmade blanket to a child who's been through some sort of trauma, whatever that may be, medical condition or whatever. It's kind of an interesting concept. I mean, how did all this get started?
It got started by two women watching a TV show of a little girl that was in the hospital at Christmas, and how she had her favorite blanket, and the idea just clicked and it took off. We have over 380 chapters through the United States, in Alaska and Hawaii, and from 1998 until now, Project Linus has distributed over 5 million blankets to children.
Wow. Now, what kind of blankets are they?
They're handmade blankets. They could be either knitted, crocheted, quilts, fleece. With the fleece ones, they either do the tie them at the ends, or we have a machine that does a skip stitch around it, and you could crochet around it. So they're mostly handmade, like I said.
And they're new, handmade, clean, serviceable, smoke-free, of course.
Smoke-free,
and you give it to a kid who, you know, and it's funny because kids all have like their favorite blanket or their favorite stuffed toy or something like that. And I think it's just a great idea to maybe, you know, give that little extra layer of emotional security as well as warmth.
It's true. And the children are so surprised when they find out that they could take the blanket home. They are really excited about that, because we try to give enough to the organizations that the child could pick out their favorite, and they're very shocked that they could take the blanket home and it's theirs to keep.
Isn't that great?
And that makes it feel good.
Now, where do these blankets come from? I mean,
I have a group of wonderful volunteers that make the blankets. We just had our big Mega Blanket Day. And
Make a Blanket Day.
Yes, at Jim's Vacuum and Sewing on Highway 77, and we got over 335 blankets that people that donated to our organization, and
wow,
that's
a lot of blankets.
It's a lot of blankets.
That covers a lot of kids.
It sure does. It sure does.
And there's chapters all over the country doing the exact same thing.
There are all over the country. We try to all do the same. We keep all the guidelines are the same for the blankets, and
so I guess it's got to be a certain size and all that
yeah,
stuff.
we like them no smaller than 36 by 36. That's our average size. Some people make them larger, of course, you know, but we don't like to have them any smaller than that. But
I think that's just such a unique idea, and I know you've got the Charles Schulz character Linus on there, which is copyright protected. But I guess they let you use that, don't they?
He gave us permission to use the Linus character, and yeah, it is copyrighted. So we have to be careful how we use it, but
for Project Linus, I mean, the whole Peanuts character, there's no better representation of a security blanket.
Sure.
Actually, Linus made the security blanket famous.
He sure did. He
sure did. And what a great thing to do, and what a great thing to do with your time. To provide that for kids.
It is, and like I said, I have some wonderful people that volunteer all their services and material, and we do take donations of material and yarn, monetary donations also.
At projectlinus.org, right?
Right, that's the main website.
Well, we've got to run off to the local weather, but on the other side of the weather report, I want to take a look at some of these blankets that you give the kids.
Sure, that would be great.
And we'll be right back with Project Linus after your Waking Up with Don weather. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Marianne Britton from Project Linus, and a whole bunch of blankets here that were provided to Project Linus by, I guess, volunteers.
Volunteers. I have volunteers that make these blankets all year long.
And it's some beautiful work here. This beautiful flannel one, it just,
yes.
this is what pajamas are made out of. And it just feels real cuddly. And if I was a kid in the hospital, I would love getting something like this. And if you look at this, all the work that went into making something like this, all these little triangles and squares and everything, someone put a lot of effort into this.
I have wonderful volunteers that do take the time to make the blankets gorgeous. And these red, white, and blue ones we like to send to the programs that we have for the fallen heroes.
So children of fallen heroes could very well get one of your blankets.
Yes, yes, we send them around May. We send them to Arlington, and they have a big program up there at Arlington in Virginia where we send, and that's the TAPS program. And then in November down in Texas, they have a program with the Snowball Express.
What's the Snowball Express?
They're programs where the children are invited to come in, and there's children of the fallen heroes, and there's a mentor, another child who's lost a parent. And so they have someone to bond with and someone to tell their problems to, and they have counselors there. They have fun things for them to do.
So kids that are adjusting to a new lifestyle, who may have lost a parent in combat in defense of this country, could get a blanket from Project Linus, and these are all handmade. And if you look really close, you see this label on here that says Project Linus on here, and it's come from a great organization that's doing great things for our kids.
Yes, it says, made with tender, loving care.
And you can tell. I mean, you look at the craftsmanship, you look at the skill level that went into making some of these blankets. It's pretty amazing.
It's true. Even we have the crocheted ones, we have some knitted ones. The children just love all different kinds, so we try to provide all different types of blankets for them.
And they're all handmade, and that's the beautiful thing. And you have several organizations to help support you with these blankets. And if you're an individual, you could donate a blanket too, couldn't you? You
could definitely donate a blanket. Jim's Vacuum and Sewing on Highway 77. They'll take blankets all year from anyone. Just drop it off there, tell them it's for Project Linus, and they'll give me a call. And I give you a call,
and they'll put the little sticker on there, the little label for Project Linus.
Right. We sew the labels on, and we also take donations of fabric, yarn, monetary donations.
And you can all do that at Jim's.
You could do that through Jim's, or you could go onto the projectlinus.org website, or my email is blankets, the letter 4 kids @hotmail.com.
Blankets for kids. Hotmail.com.
You could go there and just send me a little post, and I will definitely get back to you.
Mary Ann Britton, thank you so much for bringing this wonderful craftsmanship here into the studio today, and thank you for everything you're doing for these kids.
Thank you for having me.
This
is great.
I'm feeling the love already.
Yeah, we love this. We love this.
Thank you so much. And you're welcome back anytime. Remember, projectlinus.org. We'll be right back.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Time to Hack Tuesdays. So for today's hack, I was thinking of something that a lot of people would use in their kitchen. And one of the most popular breakfast foods is eggs. So for today, I'm going to show you how to figure out if your eggs are still good to eat. A lot of people might not remember the date that they purchased it, or wondering if the expiration date, if it can be pushed a little bit or not. So one way to do this is you're going to get a cup or a glass of cold water. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to drop the egg in. Now if it sinks to the bottom, that means that it's good to eat. If it ends up floating or bobbing, that means it's time to throw it away and get some new eggs. A way to extend the life of your eggs, there's a little trick you can use, and that is vegetable oil. By taking your vegetable oil, putting a little bit on a napkin, and coating your eggs before you put them in the fridge, this will help extend the life of your eggs by 2 to 4 weeks. So you almost get a whole nother month out of your eggs. Who doesn't want that? Another thing that a lot of people find to have problems with is when they're cracking the eggs. They'll crack them and they'll end up having shells inside the egg yolks, and trying to get them out can be a pain. So one little tip you can use is You crack it, you know, say I'll get some eggshells in there. What you can do to get out the eggshells is, one, you can wet your finger and it will help attach the eggshell to your finger. Another way to go about it is you take half of the eggshell and it acts like a magnet to the cracked piece of eggshell that is stuck in your egg yolk, and it will connect to it. So this is another easy way to extract the eggshells without losing a lot of the egg. Some people prefer to have egg whites. Now, a way to get just the egg white without the yolk, a lot of people before would toss the egg back and forth in between the shells and let the egg yolk fall. Yes, that is a way to do it. However, it's time consuming. Now, I have a hack to be able to remove the yolk really simple, and that is with using a water bottle. That's it, an empty water bottle. What you're going to do is you're going to take the opening of the egg bottle, you're going to put it over the yolk, and you're going to suck it up. And that will pull out the egg yolk. How easy is that? So this is an easy way to hack eating eggs if you want the egg whites and to know if they're fresh or not and to extend the life of them. One more hack I want to show you doesn't have to do with eggs, but a lot of people find it to be a problem when they're cooking and they don't have enough space for all of their ingredients, cutting board, and cooking up their food. So one hack that you can do is take your cutting board, open your drawer, and place the cutting board on top. Now this leaves you the room on top of your counter to do your cooking, and you can do your cutting right next to you. This saves space and opens up room in your kitchen. So thank you again for joining me for Time Hack Tuesdays, and I'll see you again next week.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Stephen Favaloro from Forest Park Animal Hospital, and today we're going to talk about the things your pet doesn't tell you.
Yes, sir.
Now, my little Sandy, who everybody loves, of course, how could you not love her, does not talk. I know that's surprising.
She doesn't speak English.
She doesn't speak English. She speaks dog, apparently.
Yes.
And she reads us pretty well.
More than you think.
But I don't know that we read her very well sometimes.
Well, so I think a lot of it depends on how in tune the owner is with the pet. You know, what part of their lives they're in. You know, or how busy they are. Do they have 4 kids? You know, or are they retired and don't have to go to work? So it just depends on how much time you have to dedicate. But even if you do, even when think you're in tune with your pet, sometimes, you know, I see it all the time, people will misread signs that, you know, their dog is showing them.
Yeah, you know, and we've talked about that before on the show. Is like, you know, look at your dog's behavior. If your dog is sleeping a lot or listless or not eating, I mean, it's a sign of something.
Something, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out what that means.
So what you got a little list here that I'm going to refer to. It says, I hurt.
Yeah, so, you know, your pets generally, I mean, won't tell you, I mean, if they hurt, other than like, okay, well, if they're limping, you know, if they hurt their back, if it's something that's really obvious that, you know, through observation you can just see that they, you know, holding their leg up. But there's other subtle signs that people don't really recognize, and I see this all the time. I see it with dental pain. I see it with like lower back, like chronic pain. You know, the dogs will come in and it's like, you know, you get a history and they're not moving as much. They're tentative to go up the stairs. They, you know, you go to pet them, you know, but they kind of pull back, and it's, you know, you ask them, you know, how's your dog? Oh, he's fine. You know, is he in pain? No, I don't think he's in pain. You know, you push him back and he can't get up, or you have a big abscess tooth.
The dog's not going to tell you, I got a
toothache. You know, they hide it a lot. You know, and a lot of times they just sit back and just don't do anything. And I mean, they'll still do the basics, but the intermediate between eating and going to the bathroom and, you know, going to the door when you leave, you know, is not as active.
Yes, and you know, we noticed with our little Sandy, of course, when she had those bladder stones that you removed, she was standing in the laundry room shivering in pain.
Right. Which, that's a pretty obvious if she's shivering in pain, but even before that, she was probably not quite as active.
Yeah, and we just didn't notice it. She might have been sleeping more or just kind of laying
low. And just like whatever, you know, she seems fine, she's eating and drinking, no vomiting, no diarrhea, so, you know, she's just old.
Now, another thing on the list here is I'm scared.
Right.
Now, I know, you know, 4th of July, the dog is scared.
Yeah, and those are pretty obvious, you know, when they're panting and pacing and they want to sit in your lap. But, you know, cats are big for that too. You know, if they're scared, and even dogs, you know, they can get quite aggressive. they'll snap at you, or
And that'll
they'll
be just fear-based.
Right, and those are the worst too, because then they'll really bite you for that. They won't come after you, but they'll be intent on trying to keep you away. Now, whether that fear is based off, once again, pain, or there's some changes in the environment, it affects their personality. So a lot of people, oh, he's just being bratty, oh, he's just being old. But fear can definitely influence their behavior.
Yeah, and not necessarily in a good way.
No, it's never in a good way.
I mean, like 4th of July, you kind of expect your dog to cower a little bit and, be afraid of all the explosions and sounds of the celebration of the 4th of July.
Or when they get older and they get like deaf, and you walk up to them and you touch them, they'll jump up and they'll bite you. It's like, oh, what's up with
you?
But that's usually they're trying to tell you something.
And another emotion here that we need to be able to read is I'm angry, or here it says
I get that
I'm
all
pissed
the time.
off.
I get that all the time.
How do you tell when your dog is mad at you?
Well, and cats are bigger at it, but dogs too. I mean, I remember when me and my roommate were in vet school, and he had a chow, and we went to a football game, in New Orleans, and we were in Baton Rouge. We stayed the night, came back, his dog pooped on his pillow. And his dog would do that every single time he would leave her. And I remember one time he went back to Monroe, where he's from, and I stayed home. He's like, make sure you keep my door closed. And I had to go in, we had one of those bathrooms that communicated, and I forgot to close his end. She went in and pooped right on his pillow. She was mad.
Just out of spite.
Absolutely. Cats will do it too. They'll go.
So they will be spiteful.
Absolutely.
Because Karen says that to me all the time. Oh, Sandy's mad. I can tell she's mad at us because we left her alone too long
But
today.
they will do that.
They will do that, I guess. And I guess we got time for one more. I resent my housemate.
Well, sometimes you'll get like the dog who gets all the attention, or it's an older dog, and let's get her a puppy. And the puppy's all over, and then now the dog is like, really? And a lot of times they'll get along, but sometimes there's, they want to stay away. They may become more, aggressive towards snapping towards you, or just, hiding in the corner, or not as communicative.
Well, it's funny you should say that. My sister visited recently and brought her little puppy along with her. And Sandy is kind of a mature lady now, and she was not up to all the friskiness that this puppy brought to the house. Yeah. So know your dog. Very important to know the signs and try and communicate with your dog, and because they're people too, after all, aren't they? Well, maybe not.
Maybe not, but still, we think they are.
Dr. Stephen Favaloro from Forest Park Animal Hospital, thank you again for coming on the show and getting us in touch with our little furry friends.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Joseph Milliron from Bay County Animal Services and his friend Sweetie, honey? Sweetie. I'm going to call you Cookie for the purposes of this interview, but Sweetie is a real sweetie. She is a puppy, I guess.
She is. She's about 5 months. She's a black cur mix, came to us as owner surrender. She must be mixed with something smaller because black curs are pretty large hunting dogs. So.
And she's just the sweetest dog you'll ever meet. I mean, got a little larger, but kind of a big puppy. Had a lot of puppy traits. And now, how did Sweetie come to you in Bay County Animal Services?
The previous owner surrendered her to us along with 2 of her litter mates, and they got adopted already, but Sweetie is still waiting for a home.
Oh, poor Sweetie. Now, just as all of the animals at Bay County Animal Services, Sweetie has been spayed.
She's spayed. She has all of her shots. She has a microchip. So if somebody's interested in adopting her, it's a $25 fee, a little bit of paperwork, and she can go home tomorrow.
Well, that'd be great. Now during what does Sweetie's day look like? I mean, do you take her out and walk them, or do they spend their days kind of locked up, or?
We try to, but honestly, with 50, 60 dogs, it's hard to give them the attention that they really need in the shelter. We have volunteers that come by periodically to walk them.
Walk them and play with them and do all that,
Yeah.
But what a sweet and happy little dog. You're just happy to be around humans, aren't you? Yeah, okay.
This is a fun field trip for her.
It is a fun field trip, and you get a ride out there, So, it's a big problem, having dogs without homes. And spaying and neutering is pretty important, don't you think, Joseph?
It is. Overpopulation is a huge issue. That's why Animal Services stays very busy, unfortunately. So we definitely promote spaying and neutering.
And what happens to the dogs that don't get adopted?
It depends on the dog. We are a euthanasia facility, unfortunately. because we can't turn any dogs away. So if they have temperament problems, if they're ill, stuff like that, we do euthanize. But we try to find them homes. We have foster programs that we implement, stuff like that.
Okay, so there are people that will come and rescue the dogs from euthanasia, but if a dog has a problem, they'll eventually get put down. Now, hopefully that won't be the case with Sweetie, because she just seems like a really nice animal.
No, I'm hoping she'll find a home. She's a darling.
Now, how do we get in touch with you? If somebody sees Sweetie and they fall in love, like I just did with her, what do we do? Who do we call?
You can call us at 767-3333. We're located off of Highway 231 on Bayline Drive.
767-3333 if you want to get acquainted with Sweetie over here, or any of the other dogs. We could always go to the website and look at some of the dogs that are there, can't we?
Yes, we have a website. It's through Bay County, and we have pictures of all of our animals as well as a brief description.
So we could just Google up Bay County Animal Services, and we'll be able to find out who all you got out there for adoption, and maybe come out there, make an appointment to get acquainted with Sweetie, and hopefully she'll find a home. So adopt her and support Bay County Animal Services, and always remember to spay and neuter your pets. We'll see you next time.